So friends, today we're still in chapter 10 of Nehemiah. This, by the way, is day 30. 10 more days to go in this Lenten series after today. Thank you for sticking with us up to this point. And today we're going to take just a closer look at the verses in chapter 10 from verse 30 right through to the end of the chapter. Even though it's going to take a few moments to do so, I think I'll read these verses. We will not give our daughters to the people of the land to take their daughters for our sons. And if the peoples of the land bring in goods or any grain on the Sabbath day to sell, we will not buy from them on the Sabbath or on a holy day. And we will forego the crops of the seventh year and the exaction of any debt. We also take on ourselves the obligation to give yearly a third part of a shekel for the service of the house of our God, for the showbread and the regular grain offering, the regular burnt offerings, the Sabbaths, the new moons, the appointed feasts, the holy things, and the sin offerings, to make atonement for Israel and for all the work of the house of our God. We, the priests, the Levites, and the people, have likewise cast lots for the wood offering to bring it into the house of our God according to our fathers' houses at times appointed, year by year, to burn on the altar of the Lord our God, as it is written in the law. We bind ourselves to bring our first fruits of the ground and the first fruits of all fruit of every tree, year by year, to the house of the Lord. Also to bring to the house of our God, to the priests who minister in the house of our God, the firstborn of our sons and of our cattle, as it is written in the law, and the firstborn of our herds and of all our flocks. And to bring the first of the dough and our contributions, the fruit of every tree, the wine and the oil, to the priests, to the chambers of the house of our God. And to bring to the Levites the tithes from the ground, for it is the Levites who collect the tithes in all our towns where we labour. And the priest, the son of Aaron, shall be with the Levites when the Levites receive the tithes. And the Levites shall bring up the tithe of the tithes to the house of our God, to the chamber of the storehouse. For the people of Israel and the sons of Levi shall bring the contributions of grain, wine, and oil to the chambers, where the vessels of the sanctuary are, as well as the priests who minister, and the gatekeepers and the singers. We will not neglect the house of our God. Now, I'm going to try to be quick here today and work our way through some of these wonderful values that are so significant back then for the people of God, and are values that the church today, if we're going to be about the work of building and rebuilding for Christ and for His glory, need to be making our values. First of all, we see here that they seek the good and the well-being of the people around. Not just their own well-being, but the well-being of the people in the surrounding city and surrounding villages and surrounding countryside. In the Church of Ireland, we're not just a gathered congregation, but we have a parish system. I think it's a wonderful system, because it means that all the people, the thousands of people who live in our parishes, are entrusted to our care, entrusted to our prayers, and entrusted to us so that we might reach and serve and seek to lead them to Christ, as our prayer book puts it, that they may be saved through Christ forever. So we need to set about reaching the people around us in our parishes in these days of building and rebuilding. The challenge is there in Nehemiah, but it's a challenge that's real to us in our Church of Ireland system, in every parish in our church today. We maybe lost sight of it. Let's rediscover it. Let's make it a reality, and let's own it and run with it. Secondly, we see in these verses the importance of Sabbath, setting aside one day in 7 to rest, setting aside time to worship and to rest. And again, there's something wonderful here that the church, as we emerge out of this season of COVID-19, needs to rediscover that we maybe have lost over more recent decades. The simple significance and importance of Sabbath, of a day of rest and a day for worship, and that we would prioritize that and make that something of real significance in the life of our churches in the days ahead. Thirdly, we see in these verses, believe it or not, an eco-awareness, caring for God's world, caring for God's earth. It's not something new, it's something that is rooted in the Scriptures. And again, as we move on, we see the significance of bringing the first fruits, the significance of the tithe. In other words, giving that's done in a planned way, planned giving, generous giving, responsible giving, obedient giving, proportionate giving, systematic giving, sacrificial giving. It's all there. We may not like to talk about it, but we have to talk about it because it's there before us. And it keeps cropping up here in the book of Nehemiah, and it's very clear in this 9th chapter, the importance of bringing our tithes, the importance of bringing a tenth of what God has given to us as an offering that would bless others. And so we see these values, and they're written down as a covenant, they're written down as a commitment that the people of God make personal and make practical and make real. Now today I'm going to end very differently. I'm not going to end with a prayer, but I'm going to ask you to go away and to write a prayer. A prayer that would be your covenant prayer, your commitment prayer that would pick up on some of these challenges today. A challenge to seek the welfare of those around us. A challenge to prioritize a day in 7 for rest and worship. A challenge to care for God's earth. A challenge to bring to God our tithe, a tenth of what He has given to us. These and other challenges that we find here in this book of Nehemiah. Today I'm encouraging you to go away and write your prayer and make it a real covenant commitment prayer that you would bring before the Lord. May the Lord bless you as you now take time to sit and to do that in His presence. Amen.